All right, so welcome everyone. Welcome to your Mindful Mondays practice. We're going to start standing today. I do this all the time. Cut my head off all the time. So coming to the top of your mat, we will bring our feet about hip width distance apart. Roll the shoulders back and down away from the ears and allow the palms to face forward. Soften the eyes, bringing your focus internal. Maybe bringing your focus right above the navel or to the middle of the forehead. And using either of these spaces to find a moment of grounding and a moment just to connect with our subtle body, maybe after a busy start to our week. Start to stack the head above the neck as if someone's pressed on the tip of your nose, lining up your head with the nape of the neck. Roll your shoulders back. Tuck your pelvis forward to engage your lower back. Stack your knees over top of your ankles, slightly bend into them. And press through your big toe, your baby toe in the heel. Feel truly grounded and rooted here in this space. With the start of Mental Health Week, tonight's practice will be the reminder to be gentle with yourself. That will be our affirmation. So on your next 3 breaths, stating that in your mind's eye, I am gentle with myself. So inhale through the nose, state it in your mind, exhale back out. Inhale through the nose, I am gentle with myself. Exhale through the nose. And one more inhale. And exhale. Come into any mudra or hand formation that feels good for you. Maybe palms to the heart or hand to the heart. Maybe other hand to the belly. And feeling truly grounded and rooted here on your mat. Maybe even feeling the rubber of your mat underneath your toes. The temperature of the room. And noticing the taste on your lips right now. Clearing your palate by taking the tongue, tracing the back of the teeth. And then tracing the front of the teeth. And bring your hands to your heart center in prayer. Take a moment of gratitude for this time today that you've carved out in your schedule. And anything else you wish to be grateful for. We'll start this evening's practice with some gentle standing open twists. We'll take our arms overhead. Twist to the right, right arm back, left arm forward, looking over your shoulder. Inhale, bringing that arm to center, looking up, shoulders relax into their natural spot. And then twisting to the left, left arm back, right arm forward. We'll inhale through to center, looking up. Exhale, twist to the right, looking over your shoulder, keeping the knees aligned, making sure they're not locking. Inhale, come to center, look up, arching your back slightly. Think of your cat-cow pose. Exhale, open to the left. Inhale, coming back to center, open up, open through your heart. Exhale, twist to the right, bring your right hand to your spine, your left hand to your hip, look over your shoulder. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist to the left, bringing that hand to the hip, other hand to your spine. Leading from your sternum as you look over your shoulder. Inhale, back to center, palms together, tap the nape of the neck as you tuck your chin. And then interlace your hands behind the head and gently take your chin from side to side. Lifting your head back above your heart, take your hands down by your sides, finding Samastiti, close the eyes. Come back to your drishti that you used at the beginning. Maybe it was above your navel, maybe it was the middle of the forehead. And just take a couple of breaths there. From our standing sequence, we're going to come into a little bit of balance work. So we'll bring our hands down by our sides, bringing our weight into our left leg, and then come up onto the right set of toes. And we'll transfer that weight to the other foot. So just doing this almost heel toe motion, and maybe closing the eyes if you feel stable and you feel balanced to do so, or bringing your focus again to one of those places of center. I say close the eyes and almost trip on my own toes. And the next time that you come up onto the right ball of foot, you can open your eyes again, because we're going to add on here. We'll take the opposite arm up and then float that knee up into our chest. Maybe soften the eyes for a moment. Lower that foot down and we'll switch. Right arm extends, left knee up to our chest. Keep your eyes open as you move through it first, and then challenge yourself if you like for closing the eyes or lower the foot. And we'll move through that from side to side. So maybe you're holding for about 2 breaths. You can either match me or go at your own pace. Being very mindful to connect it with our breath. One more time. And then exhale our hands down, exhale that foot down, reset, take an inhale. Exhale. And we'll set up for our tree pose. Coming back onto the right ball of the foot, opening up the knee. Option 1 is to stay here. Option 2, foot to your calf. Or option 3, foot above the knee, as long as it's not on the knee. Or you could always bring your toes to a block. Bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. It's your choice if you're closing the eyes, only if you trust your balance. Change up the hands, maybe grow your tree. Bring that knee back in, take the foot nice and wide and find your mountain pose for a moment. Maybe roll through the other ankle, that leg that did all the work. Now mindfully move our weight into the right foot, rooting down through the right heel, left set of toes to the earth, opening up that knee to the side, and then bringing the foot to calf or inner thigh, your choice. And take any expression with the arms, maybe cactusing the arms this time. Bring your cactus into a robot, or probably a, yeah, I always do that one, Julie. Voguing. Take one more breath. And then come back to our mountain pose. I got some love from the online community when we were joking about voguing. All right, we'll find that stillness again. Inhale through the nose. Exhale back out. And one more as a group. Inhale and exhale. Setting up for Virajasana A, we'll step back with our left foot into Warrior A. So that left foot's coming on a 45 angle and our front knee is stacked over our ankle. Now, if you find that that's too much for your shin or even the back of the hamstrings, you could step that foot a little wider, but we do want the hip squared forward and the toes slightly squared forward. So we're not landing in Warrior B, we're landing in Warrior A. Hips align, navel in, arms extend to whatever form that feels good tonight. Softening the shoulders again. And maybe finding a drishti at the top of your mat, or your drishti can come back internally. And drishti is your focal point to keep you grounded. Bring our hands to our hips and step forward, finding our mountain pose again. Inhale and exhale out. Our right foot will step back, setting up for Warrior A on the other side. Left knee stacks, pressing the back hip forward, inhaling our arms up, softening into our shoulders. And exhale our hands to our hips, weight into your front leg, stepping forward, finding that mountain pose. Pausing for 2 breaths. And we'll step back with that left leg again, setting up the same way we did in Warrior A, finding our way into pyramid this time by lengthening the front leg, hinging from the hips, and melting our heart over the front leg, either using your blocks or just tenting the hands. Dropping the head down, softening the neck. Stay for 2 more breaths, maybe seeing if you need to make any adjustments to the hips. So back hip is pressing forward. We're going to step to the top of our mat, staying in this standing forward fold, grabbing opposite elbow, and maybe just swaying with our shoulders from side to side. Exhale your hands down to the earth. Reset with a half lift. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Our right foot's going to step back this time, setting up for our pyramid. Our left leg will be long, maybe even taking your peace fingers back to the hips, melting the heart. Rooting through both heels and maybe making an adjustment of pressing your back hip forward. Asking yourself what you can soften in the jaw or the neck. Last 2 breaths on this side. We'll look forward, bend into your knee, walk yourself back forward to the top of your mat, grabbing opposite elbow, swaying or finding stillness. One of the things I notice in this posture is a lot of us wanting to hold stress in our neck. So if you're feeling that's a spot right now, maybe take a rock of the head, no, from side to side as well. And then find some stillness, bring your hands down to the earth or to your toes, wherever they reach. Pick up your sit bones, send them to the back of your mat, tilt your pelvis forward, finding more length to the back of the hamstrings, still slightly bending in your knees. If the hands make the connection with the earth, tent the hands or bring your hands on top of your feet or to your shins. We'll stay for 2 more breaths, right? Just like that. Bend into your knees, drop the head down. If it's accessible, bring your hands to the earth and then step back to a plank. If not, come to table and then meet us there. Sorry, what I should have said, you could move from tabletop. We're going to lower down to our belly. So finding a little chaturanga. And then coming into Sphinx pose, elbows underneath our shoulders, palms into the mat. If you know that this is too much of a heart opener, you can walk your elbows away from the front of your body, and let's take the toes to face the outer edges of our mat. We'll take 12 breaths here in our Sphinx pose. So your choice if you're finding that focal point again externally, or if you're just going to close the eyes and come to your breath. One more deep belly breath in through the nose, low into the belly, lowering your heart and lowering your head down. Take your elbows wide, palms on top of each other, forehead down. We're going to bring the right cheek down to the earth and take your hands off of the mat so that you're coming into cactus. So right cheek to the earth, setting up for our half rock, sliding the left knee to left elbow, and then pressing our hip bone forward so that we're working into that piriformis, the same sensation we feel in our pigeon pose. So left knee to left elbow, right cheek down. Making this posture a bit more restorative. We're going to hold it a little bit longer than we did Sphinx pose. So if you feel the need to have to put a bolster or a pillow underneath your knee, please take that time to make that adjustment. We'll take that leg nice and long to meet the opposite. We'll bring our head back to center first to reset, forehead down. And bringing our left cheek down to the earth, bending in the elbows to cactus, sliding the right knee up to that elbow. Pressing the hip bone forward. We'll lengthen that leg long and we'll bring our head back and our hands back underneath the forehead. Moving into some of our back extensions. We're going to start with the lower half. So the head and the chest is going to stay down. We're going to squeeze the glutes, press the hips forward, point the toes to lift the feet, the knees, if it's accessible, and then lower the legs back down. Okay, I'll do one more with my head down because I know with cueing it, my head was lifted. I actually really want your head down. So you're going to inhale, lift, pressing those hips forward, and then lower down. So move through that a few times, just on your own. Try not to lift the upper body yet. Being very mindful to squeeze the glutes to protect the lower back. And then one more time. And lower back down. Now we'll do the upper half, lifting the hands and the head off. So gluing the back of the hands to the forehead, keeping the lower half of the body down. So lifting and then lowering back down. And if that's too much on your shoulders, you can take your arms out to cactus instead. Lifting and lowering, going through that a few times with your own breath. And one more like that. And then bring your right cheek back down to the earth as you do so. Slide your left knee back towards the elbow, like we're setting up for half frog again. We'll walk our left hand out nice and long so that the elbow wants to lift. We're going to weave the right arm underneath as we set up for our supine twist. So right arm weaves. Our left arm's going to reach behind us as we roll onto our shoulder. So see if you can really bring that left shoulder down or place your blanket, or if you're at home, a pillow underneath your shoulder, or it might mean having to roll onto your spine first and then adjusting the legs. My hip is aligned with my bottom hip. So top hip is aligned. My leg can float there, or my knee can come down as long as I'm not rolling back out of it. Opening up through the chest. Maybe taking both palms to face the sky. Yeah, you're gonna weave your right arm underneath your left and then open up that arm behind you. Slide your knee up to your chest if it's not already on the ground. Yeah.
And right over.
And then bring your shoulder right over, and let's place this underneath your knee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If it can be for your shoulder. See if you melt this shoulder down more, Vanessa. Can you bring it all the way to the ground? No. Maybe when, I already gave you a bolster. Mark's using your bolster now. Kind of like it. Lift up this leg. This might give you that space to roll the shoulder down. Candace, do you want a bolster over there? No, you got it.
So like this leg is supposed to stay down now?
It doesn't have to. That's okay. I just don't want to see it opening to the place that you're rolling out of it completely. And then you can slide that actually more towards me a little bit. Yeah. And then see if that shoulder doesn't want to come down. That one doesn't. Okay. You want to just bring this one down by your side? Yeah. Is that better? Okay. 2 more breaths after we just settled in. Gonna roll to your belly as you come out of it. Kick your bolster off or push it to the side. Come back to your hands underneath your forehead. We're gonna set up the same way. I'll help in studio moving your props for you, so don't worry about that. We do have a smaller class tonight. So let's do left cheek to the ground, elbows bent, right knee slides up to right elbow, which means now that the right hand's gonna extend to the top of our mat and the left arm's gonna weave underneath that space so that we're gonna roll onto our right shoulder. Did I mess up my rights and lefts now?
No, that's right. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, this way is much easier.
Okay. Let's use your blanket there. I almost took your face out. Sorry, Robin. Let's use this under this guy. See if that relaxes more. How's that? Okay. Let's see if this helps a little bit and soften this. Yeah, you can get that shoulder down there, Candace. We could even try this just a little bit. How's that? Much better than last time?
I know that one's gonna make me roll.
Yes. Can we slide this down a bit, actually? Try that. So your ankle's on it. Sorry, I just did hands-on, didn't ask you permission. We'll take one more breath on this side. Allowing those props to fall over as we come on to our belly again. But do keep them handy because we're going to use them for our next posture. As we come to the belly, we're going to press up into child's pose and bring your bolster long ways on your mat so that it's there to support you. I'll use my blanket rolled up as a demo of it. So we want to place it closer to the groin and then allowing ourselves to come forward and maybe bring the cheek down on the bolster. Or if you don't have a bolster, you could just come to forearms, or if it's comfortable enough, you could come all the way down for child's pose. We'll switch sides, bringing the other cheek down if you are perfect. Everyone went the same at the same time. We're slowly going to roll up into tabletop, moving our props to the side. It might feel good to move through a couple of cats and cows just to release that. Maybe even a down dog. And we'll come to neutral tabletop, find our way to seated. Finding our straddle and bringing your bolster to the inside of the right leg, or even if you're using a blanket like I am on top of the thigh, squaring up our shoulders with that leg, little bend into our knee. I even like to place a block sometimes underneath there as a reminder, and then draping yourself over that leg, using the bolster, pillow, whatever is accessible, or you can stack your fists and bring your forehead down. Being mindful that the opposite bum cheek's not rolling, or that you're not rolling your hip forward. I'm going to start to roll up and bring our hands behind us, lifting our heart, squeezing the shoulders back. We'll bring ourselves to the other side, moving our props. Again, the bolster can come to the inside, the bolster being that thicker pillow. Come to the inside of your leg if you like, or using blanket or block underneath your knee, squaring up the shoulders, draping yourself over, maybe stacking the fists. Okay, one more breath. Rolling out of it, break your hands behind you again to open up the heart. Sorry, Robin, I stepped on your mat. If you have a foam block at home, please grab it. And I've given everyone a foam block in studio. We'll come back upright. You can either sit like this, or you can come to your easy pose, cross leg. The reason I gave you a foam block is we're going to be doing some shoulder work. So it'd be just cruel to do it with your cork block unless you really want to. It is a mindful practice, so let's be a bit more gentle. So we're going to take our block out in front, shoulders roll back. We're going to open, come to cactus as you take the block in one arm. And then bring it back in front. Open, squeeze the shoulders as you come back into cactus. Bring it back in front. And we're just going to move from side to side, maybe softening the eyes. Most likely an exhale to open is going to feel best. Or any breath really that works for you. The shoulders are getting tired, you could always bend your elbows and bring them into your ribs instead and do more of a forearm close is another option. And especially great practice if we find that we round through our shoulders forward, closing off the heart, or maybe it's just something that we spend our day doing. So strengthening those back muscles. Do one more on each side. And then when you're done, you can remove the block and take a couple of shoulder rolls back. Taking the block to the outside of your left knee. We're just going to bring ourselves over that knee, finding a little seated twist, hands to the block, dropping the head down or block on top of the knee. It's another option. And finding the space down the side of the body, all the way to the SI, and breathing into that lower back. We'll start to roll up and take the block with us. If you really feel like you need to open up the shoulders, you can take the block overhead, look up, and come over to the right, draping yourself over that thigh. Yes, if you can. But if it's slightly lifting, that's okay, as long as you're not
Okay.
lifting your leg. I have that same concern in this pose sometimes too. My bum doesn't want to stay there.
Yeah.
I'm going to start to roll up, bringing the block to center. And this time we're going to come to that forward fold, hinging from the hips, finding a forward fold, just resting our hands wherever the block can reach. Maybe a little grip, pressing our palms into the block to open more space in the shoulders. We'll slowly start to roll up. We'll bring the block with us. Bring it to the side of our mat. And then we'll come to our spine. We'll keep that block handy again. Lower down, take as much time, or maybe little time as you need, flopping down. And plant the feet into the mat. Maybe place that block between the knee and the thigh, squeezing the block, rooting your tailbone into the earth, rooting through your big toe and your heel and your baby toe, and maybe lifting the hips up into bridge pose, or just rocking the pelvis forward and back into your pelvic tilts. Maybe readjust the block if you need. Really keeping the feet grounded. And if the block doesn't feel supportive, you can always remove it. We'll start to lower our sit bones back down. Pick up that block, reach it overhead, open up through the shoulders again. And then your choice, you can either come to a supported bridge pose by bringing the block underneath the sacrum and keeping the feet planted. Or option two is to extend the legs to the top of your mat to work through the front of the body into the psoas. So we'll bring our block back to our hips. We'll lift our sit bones. We'll place that block underneath our sit bones from the tailbone up so that it's not on the fleshy part of the glutes. You can stay here with the feet grounded, or you can take the legs out nice and long, maybe even take the arms back overhead, finding this front body opener. Today we did do a lot of hamstrings and shoulders, so this might be a great option to close practice with before coming into Shavasana. And then when you're ready to come out of it, you have the legs extended, plant the feet, lift the sit bones, remove the block, maybe windshield wiper knees from side to side. Might even feel good to bring the knees to your chest and circle through the hips as you take your knees away from each other and then back in. And finding your way into your Shavasana, your restorative pose. Maybe tucking yourself in or adding any layers if the body is cooling. Mhm. Yeah. So settling in and allowing all of that work of your practice to fully soak into the body as it rests. In yoga, we talk about our sukha and our sthira. So doing the work where we start to maybe find a bit of heat and fire in our body, and then appreciating the stillness. And I hope that's what your Shavasana feels like. Feeling rested, feeling still and restored. Start by bringing your thumb and your index finger to touch and creating little circles as you feel the connection from the tip of each finger. And then moving the thumb to the middle finger, continuing with that pattern. Thumb to the ring finger. And thumb to the pinky. And maybe a couple of open and closing of the hands. We'll slowly make our way onto one side, coming into little fetal position. And take one more moment just to connect back with your intention, with your thoughts, and with your breath. Today's affirmation was the reminder to be gentle with ourselves. I hope that you'll take that intention off your mat with you. And we'll slowly press ourselves up to seated, using our top hand for that support. Bring our hands to Anjali Mudra. Moment of gratitude as we bow our head down. Gratitude for this practice. Gratitude for this space. And gratitude for our physical, mental, and emotional health and well-being. Thumbs to third eye for our thoughts. Thumbs to our mouth and our throat for our kind words. And back to the heart, Anahata, for compassion and kindness. Thank you for being here this evening. Have a great rest of your night. Namaste.